What's up guys, Surf here, back with another Destiny 2 build video. This build is going to be on a Hunter solo build. It's going to be basically you getting your super back very, very fast, so you're going to be able to use it on almost every encounter on whatever you're doing. The dim link will be down in the description and probably linked to a comment as well. And if this video helps you out, make sure you leave a like, it helps me out a ton. And then also maybe even consider subscribing. Only 5% who watch are subbed, so it'd be awesome to get that number up. Going on with the build, the super we're going to be using is going to be Blade Barrage because of the damage and because of how fast you get this. The whole thing about this build is getting your super fast. With the abilities, class ability is going to be Gambler's Dodge, which fully recharges your melee ability when dodging your enemies. The melee ability is going to be critical to this build. Movement ability is kind of up to you. I chose Triple Jump. I would just kind of recommend picking whatever you like using the best. I find Triple Jump to be the most enjoyable and honestly just kind of the easiest as well. The melee ability, it's going to be the Proximity Explosive Knife. I use this one just in case I miss my knife. It can still kill somebody with the explosion afterwards, as opposed to where if you use the normal knife and you miss, then you're just out of a kill. And then the last ability is going to be, of course, the grenade. I'm going to be using fusion grenades. This one is also kind of free. I just enjoy using fusion grenades because they stick to enemies and I don't really have to feel like I have to aim perfectly with them. But if you want to use other grenades like trip mines and incendiary grenades, that would also work. Moving on to the aspects, the first one's going to be On Your Mark, which is getting precision final blows grant you and nearby allies increased weapon handling and reload speed for a short duration up to 3 stacks. Plus, this gives us 3 fragment slots instead of 2 or 1 like most aspects we've used in the past. And then the second one is going to be Knock 'em Down. Makes our solar super enhanced. For Blade Barrage, it launches more projectiles. That is going to be huge. With what armor we are going to be using, it's going to help us get our super back even faster. After we use our super, it's going to give us 50% of our super back already. So this is very, very important to the build. Going on to the fragments, we are going to have 5 fragments total in this build instead of the normal 4 we usually have. The first one's going to be Ember of Char, which makes our solar ignitions spread scorch to affected targets. Plus, it gives us plus 10 discipline for those grenades. Second's going to be Ember of Imperium, which is going to be solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. It's going to knock down resilience 10, unfortunately. And then the third one is going to be Ember of Eruption. Solar ignitions have increased area effect. The next one is going to be Ember of Benevolence, which applying restoration, cure, or radiant to allies grants increased grenade, melee, and class ability regeneration for a short time. It takes away 10 discipline, unfortunately, but it is still a very, very powerful fragment. And the fifth and final fragment is going to be Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant. So basically, with this build, using your proximity explosive knife 2 or more times will make you and your team radiant. So keep getting those knife kills, they are very important. Real fast, quick reminder, the dim link is down in the description, and if you haven't already, please leave a like and subscribe. We are growing fast here and I want to keep up that momentum. Now for the stats, here I recommend the mobility and intellect stats. Just because I feel like hunters, you just kind of need that mobility. Unfortunately, unless you really have great armor, getting high mobility and high resilience is pretty hard together. Plus, this is a build that's all about your super, so we're going to need high intellect anyways. So mobility, intellect, going to be your best 2 options here. Going on to the armor and the armor mods, all these mods might be a little different per person, just kind of depending on where their stats are. But starting with the helmet, I use a +5 intellect mod. And then from there, I'm using 2 hands-on mods, which are going to gain bonus super energy on melee kills, which again, using your knife is a melee kill. So it's going to be able to get super back even faster. And then I'm using Seeking Wells, which basically makes the elemental wells you create move across the ground towards nearby players, so you and your teammates will both get benefits from this. Then moving on to the arms, we are going to be using the Shards of Galanor exotic gauntlets. Basically what these do is make your hits and kills with Blade Barrage return super energy even after your super ends. So how this works is if you see a champion, for instance, and you use your Blade Barrage super on them, with all those hits and possibly you even killing them, you're going to get up to 50% of your energy back, which again, we are using weapons and mods and abilities that will be able to get our super back even faster. So this is a must run. This is a great gauntlet, I think. It's just kind of more situational than most. And the mods I chose to use for this was a +5 intellect mod. Then I chose to use the anti-barrier pulse rifle seasonal mod because we will be using a pulse rifle. Then from there, I'm using the focusing strike mod, which basically grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack, which again, we're using the knives. And then after that, we're doing Font of Might, picking up elemental wells that matches your subclass energy type, grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same elemental type. So pretty much every time you pick up a solar well, you're gonna get solar damage buff, pretty much, which is why I usually recommend running a solar shotgun or a solar rocket launcher in the secondary and third slots there. And then from there, we're moving on to the chest armor mods. I chose to use another +5 intellect, and then I'm using the Armor of the Dying Star seasonal mod. It basically just reduces the incoming solar and void damage from combatants. And then I rounded it off with the Arc Resist mod. And then the last chest mod I'm using is going to be Powerful Friends. It gives you +20 mobility, and also when you become charged with light, nearby allies also become charged with light. So you are again buffing your teammates while also giving yourself a huge boost in mobility. Going on to the leg armor, I'm using a +10 intellect mod. I'm having to use all these intellect mods just because I don't really have great hunter armor. I don't play on my hunter quite often, so I'm just kind of trying to make it work with what I can. If you have great hunter armor, then great. You can use that slot for, I don't know, discipline or even resilience. Moving on from that, I'm using the Invigoration mod, which reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. And then I'm using the Absolution mod, which reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb. Again, it's going to be helping your grenades, it's going to be helping your dodge, it's going to be helping your melee attacks, it's going to be helping everything in this build to, again, help your super get back faster. And then the last mod I'm using on the legs is going to be Elemental Light. Defeating a combatant with your super spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type. So if you use your super on a champion, it's gonna spawn an elemental well. If you're using your super on a bunch of enemies, using it for ad clear, it'll spawn a bunch of elemental wells that match your energy type. So it's going to be very beneficial here. And then last but not least, we're on to the Hunter Cloak mods. I'm using a +5 mobility to push me all the way over 100. Then I'm going to be using Classy Restoration seasonal mod. Activating your solar class abilities grants you restoration. After Season of the Haunted, there's probably going to be some sort of mod that may take place of this. I don't think it'll give you restoration, so you won't always have that healing factor, but I'm sure there's going to be something in place where it's still going to be pretty beneficial to us. And then I'm using Utility Kickstart. When your class energy is fully expended, you gain class energy. And then last but not least, we're running Elemental Charge, which basically means you become charged with light by picking up an elemental well. If the elemental well's element type matches your subclass element, you gain 2 stacks charged with light. So this is very, very good for us, but it's also very, very good for your teammates. You're honestly kind of playing a support class with this until you get your super, which then you're switching to a damage class. Moving on to the weapons, you can run whatever you want for your secondary and heavy slots. I would definitely recommend running solar energy and solar heavy weapons though. I run different things depending on what content I'm running, but for my secondary, I enjoy running empty vessel with blinding nades or a shotgun like 7th Seraph. Since shotguns got buffed and you need to run something solar, I would definitely recommend a solar shotgun like the 7th Seraph. And then for the heavy, I jump back and forth between Storm Chaser and Palmyra. But if you want to run solar, again, Hezen's Vengeance from Volta Glass is a really good rocket you should run. And then of course, the main ingredient we are using in this build, besides those exotic gauntlets, is going to be the exotic pulse rifle, Bad Juju. I feel like I haven't used this gun in forever, but I think it was time to bring it into a build. So this exotic special perk is called String of Curses, which makes kills refill the magazine and increases damage for a short time, and it grants super energy. This gun also fires in full auto. It also has a catalyst that makes it gain full strength of String of Curses, and it always refills the magazine on kills. So it's gonna fully fill it up, so you can just kind of keep using this gun. This gun is really good with this build based on getting super back, and being able to add clear without reloading is incredibly nice as well. I don't really recommend Huckleberry for this build, but I love running Huckleberry in other builds because you don't have to reload, and the gun is so enjoyable to use as well. Gameplay with this is pretty simple. Just get kills with bad Juju and your knife as much as possible. Then it should give you your super back fairly quickly, and then you use your super on a beefy champion, or you can use it for ad clearing to get all the elemental wells, and then you'll already have half of your super back instantly. This build is really fun to play, especially with a loadout I wouldn't normally use, but it could be viable in some high-end content as well, maybe some lost sectors. Honestly, even running it in the raid is probably a pretty decent idea as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I know most of you aren't, so if you could do that, it would help me out a ton. And then stay tuned to the channel for more Destiny 2 content, especially with this new season coming up. I am ready to pump it out for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.